At 16 years old, her life didn't just change. It shattered. One moment, everything was normal. Her parents were alive. The house was filled with laughter. There was warmth. There was safety. There was love. And then, in a single moment, it was all gone. A phone call. An accident. No warning. No time to prepare. Just like that, they were gone. No goodbye. No last words. No final hug. Because how do you accept a loss you never got to say goodbye to? She remembered standing there, frozen, while the world kept moving around her. All she could think was, this isn't real. But it was. And just like that, everything they had, everything they knew, everything that made them feel safe, was gone. Because there was something else, something even more terrifying. They had no one. No grandparents to call. No aunts. No uncles. No family waiting to take them in. Her mother had chosen love over family. She had married their father against her family's wishes. And for that, they turned their backs on her. Completely. They disowned her. Cut her off. As if she no longer existed. And that was all she knew. No names. No numbers. No way to find them. Not even the certainty that they would care. If they did. One night, her little sister cried herself to sleep, curled up under the blankets, holding onto the only piece of comfort she had left. She sat beside her, watching her, listening to the soft, broken breaths between tears. And for the first time, she felt the full weight of what had happened. Not just the loss, but the responsibility. Because that little girl was now looking at her the same way she used to look at their parents. For answers, for safety, for reassurance. And she didn't have any of those things. But she couldn't let her sister see that. So she reached out, gently brushing her hair back. "I'm not going anywhere," she whispered. Her voice was soft, but steady. "I've got you." And in that moment, she made a promise she didn't know how to keep, but one she would spend the rest of her life trying to. The world didn't see them the way they saw themselves. To everyone else, they were just two children. Too young, too vulnerable, too alone. The system had a plan for them. Separate them, place them in different homes, different families, different lives. But to her, that wasn't an option. They had already lost everything. She wasn't going to lose her sister too. They were all they got. How would her little sister cope with losing everyone she ever loved? No, she couldn't let that happen. Back home, there were bills to pay, food to buy, a home to keep. She worked wherever she could, cleaning houses, washing dishes, taking jobs no one else wanted. Some nights, she came home so exhausted, she fell asleep before she even made it to bed. But every morning, she got up again, made breakfast, packed lunches, walked her sister to school, braided her hair, smiled, even when she felt like she was falling apart inside. There were nights she gave her sister the last plate of food. "I'm not hungry," she would say. And her sister believed her, because she made sure she did. At first, it was just the two of them. A small space. Quiet, sometimes too quiet, but she tried to fill it. With warmth, with routine, with anything that felt like normal. She cooked simple meals, burned a few at first, learned as she went. They would sit at the table together, her sister talking about school, friends, small things that still felt light. And she would listen, smile, nod, holding on to those moments. like they were the only proof that everything wasn't completely broken. At night, she would check on her sister before going to bed. Make sure she was warm, safe, still there, because somewhere deep inside, she was afraid that if she looked away too long, she might lose her too. At 18, she met him. It wasn't anything dramatic at first, but there was something about him. He listened, really listened, not just to her words, but to the silence behind them. He noticed things, the tiredness in her eyes, the way she hesitated before answering simple questions, the way she carried herself like she was holding up the world. And instead of walking away, he stayed. Slowly, carefully, he became part of her life. And then, part of theirs. He didn't just show up for her. He showed up for her sister too, helping with homework, picking her up from school when work ran late, making jokes that made her laugh again, bringing back a light that had slowly faded after their parents were gone. And for the first time in a long time, she felt something unfamiliar. Relief. Like maybe she didn't have to carry everything alone anymore. Her sister trusted him, looked up to him, like a big brother. And she trusted that, because after everything they had been through, trust wasn't something she gave easily. But with him, it felt safe. By 21, she was married. And this time, life felt different. They had a good marriage, the kind built on patience, on understanding. Their home was warm. There was laughter again, the kind she hadn't heard since she was a child. Their kids filled every corner of the house with life. Noise, joy, little moments that made everything she had sacrificed feel worth it. And her sister, she wasn't just part of their life. She was family, an amazing aunt, present, loving, playful, something she and her sister never had growing up. A full, happy home. She had finally allowed herself to believe something, that the hardest part of her life was behind her, that everything she had lost, she had somehow rebuilt. Through it all, she never forgot her promise. She kept showing up. For her sister, she paid for her college, every fee, every expense, without hesitation, because she wanted her to have more opportunities, more freedom, more life than she ever had. And she gave it willingly, openly, completely, because to her, that's what love was, giving everything, and never once thinking about what it might cost her. After college, her sister came back into their lives more often. It felt right, like things had come full circle. She was proud of her, happy to have her close again. She helped with the kids, spent time at the house. She was always around. And so was he. Laughing with her, talking with her. It felt normal, familiar, safe. But slowly, something began to shift. Something small, something she couldn't quite explain, but something she couldn't ignore either. She noticed things. The way they laughed, a little too long. The way they stood, a little too close. The way conversations stopped when she walked into the room. And that feeling, that quiet voice, began to grow louder, telling her something wasn't right. But she pushed it away, because the alternative was something she wasn't ready to face. Then one day, her Chloe told her she was pregnant. Scarlett was ecstatic. This meant a growing family, a niece or nephew to love and dote on. She was going to be an aunt, even though her sister had said she wasn't seeing anyone. There had to be someone, but when she asked, her sister closed up. Just silence, where answers should have been. At first, she didn't panic. She just wanted to understand. But she started to worry that her sister may have been hurt. So she asked again and again to be sure. Gently, carefully, "Did he hurt you, love? I just want to make sure you're okay. You can tell me, you know that, right?" But again, nothing. Chloe always said she didn't want to talk about it, or that it was complicated, which only made Scarlett worry more. That was all she would say. Every time. No matter how many times she asked. No matter how gently. In the end, she let it go. She was going to give her sister all the support she needs as usual, especially now. A big family is a dream come true for her. She could not wait to welcome her niece or nephew. She made sure Chloe had everything she needed. Doctor appointments, food, clothes, a place that felt safe. She didn't let her want for anything. "All you have to do is ask," she would say. And she meant it. Because to Scarlett, this was her sister having a baby. This was family growing. This was something beautiful. Something she had dreamed of for so long. A full home. And she was going to protect that, just like she always had. No matter what. When the baby was born, it was a joyous moment for everyone. Daniel had been so supportive during the pregnancy, always offering to go to doctor's appointments with Chloe, and offering to get her midnight cravings. He stepped up even more when the baby was born. He was always there, holding the baby, feeding him, rocking him to sleep. She shut down the voice in her head. That kept saying something wasn't quite right. Then one day, her son said something. That changed everything. "Mom, why does the baby look like Dad?" And just like that, everything fell into place. Her heart stopped. She got into her car and headed to her sister's house. Her husband's car, parked right in front of Chloe's house. Scarlett slowed down, her hands tightening slightly on the steering wheel. At first, she told herself the same thing she always had. He's just helping her. He's always been there for her. But this time, it didn't feel the same. Something about it felt different. It felt wrong. Had she been blind all along? She parked, quietly, carefully. Her heart had already started racing. She stepped out of the car, the air suddenly feeling heavier around her. She could have walked up to the front door, knocked, announced herself, but something stopped her. That voice again. So instead, she went around the back, each step slower than the last, her chest tightening, her breath shallow. And then, she saw them, through the window. Close, too close, locked in an embrace that wasn't confusion, wasn't comfort, wasn't accidental. It was familiar, intentional, intimate, the kind of closeness that didn't need explaining, the kind that said everything, without a single word. And in that moment, time didn't just slow down. It stopped. Her heart dropped so hard, it felt like it shattered on impact. Because suddenly, everything made sense. The unanswered questions, the closeness, the way they looked at each other. All of it, it wasn't in her head. It never was. And the two people she trusted most in this world stood right in front of her, proving it. And then, it happened. Her foot shifted slightly. A sharp sound cracked through the silence. Too loud, too sudden, too real. Her breath caught. Inside, they froze. Then slowly, they turned, and their eyes met hers. For a second, no one moved. No one spoke. Just silence. Heavy, suffocating. Chloe's face drained of color. Daniel stepped back slightly, but it was already too late. Because Scarlett had seen everything, there was no explanation. No excuse. No way to undo what she had just witnessed. Her heart pounded so hard, it felt like it might burst out of her chest. And for a moment, she couldn't breathe. Then instinct took over. She turned and ran. She didn't wait, didn't say a word. She got into her car with shaking hands, barely able to see through the tears already forming in her eyes. The engine roared to life, and she drove, fast, like she was trying to outrun the moment, outrun the truth, outrun the feeling that her entire world had just collapsed. Her phone started ringing. Chloe, over and over again, her name flashing across the screen. But Scarlett couldn't answer. She wouldn't answer, because what was there to say? So she let it ring. Again, and again, and again, until the screen finally went silent. And all that was left was the sound of her own breathing. Uneven, shaking, breaking. Her hands tightened around the steering wheel, and her mind began replaying everything. All the years, all the memories, all the moments she thought were real. The little girl she had protected, the sister she had raised,